Datuk Sri Muhammad Fuzi Harun appointed as new IGP. Stranded climbers on Mount Elbrus on their way home. Hello and good afternoon. I'm Mohana Priya. Welcome to News on 2. Datuk Sri Muhammad Fuzi Harun has been picked to become the country's new Inspector General of Police. He takes over from Tan Sri Khalid Abu Bakar, who retires today. The appointment of the Special Branch Department Director ahead of Deputy IGP Tan Sri Nur Rashid Ibrahim took many by surprise. Before he was a Special Branch Director, Datuk Sri Muhammad Fuzi had previously held the Bukit Aman Management Director and Acting Deputy IGP posts. Tan Sri Khalid, meanwhile, was appointed as the 10th IGP, succeeding Tan Sri Ismail Omar on May 17, 2013. A handing over ceremony was held this morning, witnessed by Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Ahmad Said Hamidi. The Foreign Ministry confirmed that the 19 Malaysian climbers stranded due to a major mudslide in Terskol village, Russia, had successfully conquered the peak of Mount Elbrus. The Jalu Gemilang flew proudly at the peak of Mount Elbrus after the Kembara Sri Kandi Prihatin expedition arrived there at 4:15 p.m. Malaysian time on Saturday. In a released statement, Puteri UMNO Chief Datuk Mas Ermiati Samsudin said KSP expedition leader Umar Farah Haidar Zulkifli, 30, was its sole representative to conquer the mountain, which stands at 5,642 meters, in conjunction with the 2017 National Day celebration. She said although Umar Farah was the only one to reach the peak, the success was also that of the other 5 climbers who were with her throughout the climb. The group of climbers were evacuated by local authorities and were sent to Miller 9 Vodi Airport to fly to Moscow before returning back to Malaysia. All 19 Malaysians were stranded following a major mudslide near Terskol village close to the mountain on Friday, September 1st. The expedition, organized by the National Adventures Association with the cooperation of Puteri UMNO, left for Russia on August 23rd. Health Minister Datuk Sri Dr. S. Subramaniam has accepted the apology made by the Independent Singapore that ran a report alleging lateness in response and withholding of treatment by Johor medical authorities on a Singaporean who had met with an accident there.
Semalam saya dah beritahu bahawa kita akan hantar satu surat resmi melalui saluran yang rasmi. Tapi pada hari ini saya dah lihat portal itu dah minta maaf terhadap apa yang mereka buat. Kalau mereka dah minta maaf, okeylah. Kita terima.
Datuk Sri Dr. Subramaniam said to reporters after attending the Perak MIC convention in Ipoh, Perak yesterday. The Independent Singapore, through a notice on its website, said that it unreservedly apologized to the parties concerned for the anguish and distress the incident had caused. The notice replaced the original report titled 25-year-old Singaporean dies after Malaysian hospital demanded cash payment before treatment, published on August 31st. The Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency has detained a sailboat for violating various regulations, including overloading, near Pulau Singa Besar on Friday. The team intercepted the boat, which was offering an unlicensed sunset cruise tour, and nabbed 4 crew members, including the captain, at 6:15 p.m. That's about 0.3 nautical miles off Pulau Singa Besar near Langkawi. MMEA intercepted the boat, which was at the time carrying 22 passengers on board. In a released statement, MMEA Langkawi District 1 Operation Deputy Director, Maritime Commander Nurul Azmi Zakaria said his team was conducting a routine patrol in the area when they spotted the boat. He said apart from operating a sunset cruise tour without a license, the boat was also found to have violated several other rules under the Merchant Shipping Ordinance 1952. The violations include not having a list of the crew and passengers and carrying more than the allowed 12-passenger limit. Nurul Azmi added that initial investigations showed the passengers were charged 280 ringgit each for the trip. The 2-week operation to curb illegal boat tour at the island was carried out to ensure operators of tour boats complied with stipulated regulations for the safety of tourists. With the monsoon season picking up the pace, the number of flood victims at Kampung Seri Sentosa in Selangor has risen to 45 as of last night, compared to 33 earlier. According to a fire rescue department spokesman, the flood victims from 14 families were placed at a relief centre within the Ladang Tuan Mi Surau. The spokesman added that as of 9:45 p.m. yesterday, the flood victims residing at the relief centre comprised of 5 male senior citizens, 7 female senior citizens, 10 men, 11 women, 4 boys and 8 girls. The victims were evacuated to the relief centre after floodwaters immersed their homes, with water levels rising from 0.3 metres to 1.5 metres following heavy rains since 4 a.m. The evacuation of the flood victims involved the Fire and Rescue Department, the Royal Malaysia Police, Civil Defence Force and the Social Welfare Department. A 61-year-old disabled senior citizen was found dead in his house for over 2 days at Lorong Utama 6, Taman Air Keroh Heights, Melaka yesterday. The victim, M. Ilangavan's demise was made aware by a concerned neighbour who had not seen him for the past 1 week before contacting his family. The victim's daughter, 24-year-old E. Yogeswari, was contacted by the neighbour who noticed that the wheelchair and walking stick used by Ilangavan, who had his left leg amputated, lying outside the house since last week. Yogeswari and her 57-year-old mother, M. Saroja, who does not live with her father anymore, said following the call she had requested for a relative to check on her father. The victim's body was found filled with flies on the floor of the main room. Melaka Tengah District Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Azfahir Ahmad confirmed the finding when contacted. The case has been classified as sudden death. The Road Transport Department, JPJ, is confident of solving the problem of traffic offenders' refusal to pay their summonses imposed through the automated enforcement system by taking legal action. JPJ Director Datuk Sri Nazri Siron said the legal action will be taken as many traffic offenders had taken lightly the summonses issued to them since the system implementation on April 15th. He said action would proceed even if disputes from various parties still exists following the growing total of stubborn offenders. The Attorney General Chambers had already approved undertaking legal action for these traffic offenders. Traffic offenders who failed to pay the fines within 3 months of the date of issuance will be charged in court and face a fine of up to 2,000 ringgit. Datuk Sri Nazri said that JPJ is still in the midst of tracking down the offenders before commencing legal action. AES summonses are issued for 2 types of offences, which include speeding and running a red traffic light. Coming up next, FRIM incorporated to develop research findings in forestry sector. Now, the Finance Ministry has approved the establishment of the Forest Research Institute Malaysia, FRIM, to develop research findings in the forestry sector. Natural Resources and Environment Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Junaidi Tuanku Jaafar said, following the approval secured on August 4th, the FRIM Incorporated will manage to generate its own income through the commercialization of its research and development products.
Dalam dinamik kita ada sekarang ini, saya melihat bahawa FRIM amat menyerlah ke hadapan dan aktif untuk melaksanakan apa yang dibolehkan undang-undang kita yang ada sekarang.
On April 7th last year, the Dewan Rakyat passed the FRIM 2016 bill, which, among others, allowed the institution to establish or develop companies, hence turning it into an authoritative agency for the commercialization and management of programs or projects related to its field of research. Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Junaidi said this after attending the ministry's Raya Korban Perdana gathering at Masjid Jami FRIM in Kuala Lumpur. Felda settlers are reminded to be wiser in evaluating between perception and reality of an issue which is currently being manipulated by the opposition, aimed at breaking the unity among the community. Thus, Felda is now working to address the negative perceptions thrown by the opposition through a briefing session on the fact that is turned out to be the cause of the settlers' trust in the government. Felda Deputy Director General Abdul Ghani Ali, however, admitted that it will be a big challenge for them to restore the situation and to regain their confidence.
Jadi bermakna daripada figure yang kita boleh bagi 112,000 keluarga penongka yang ada yang tidak bersama dengan Felda hanya lebih kurang 12,000 ke 15,000. Jadi ini menunjukkan persepsi yang mengatakan Felda telah meninggalkan perjuangan untuk memajukan peneroka adalah tidak wajar.
Abdul Ghani said this at a Korban ceremony held at the Al-Makmuriyah Mosque in Felda, Chini 3, Pekan Pahang. Meanwhile, the transformation of the Felda community has succeeded in producing a good generation who are now professionals in their respective fields. On one of the Felda second generation, Jimpol Community College Deputy Director Muhammad Sabri Alia said the number of those who are successful is increasing. Muhammad Sabri said their success was not only due to hard work, but also in the various facilities provided by Felda, such as tuition classes and Felda Intensive Child Assistance Scheme to public and private institutions of higher learning. He added that the role played by Felda not only covers the first generation, but also the later generations, though they are not offered 4 hectares of land and a home as enjoyed by previous generations. However, various other benefits are given. For example, Koperasi Permodalan Felda stocks, which is among the best stocks in Malaysia.